This video is different from my other YouTube videos. It is filled with sad memories, horrible experiences, and happy and unhappy emotions. I should warn you that you might find some parts of my story distressing, and you should know that you don't have to watch the complete video. The goal of this video is not to achieve any YouTube analytical target, so you can drop at any point. In fact, the purpose of this video is to share a part of my life with you, to let you know who I am, and I hope through this video to build a friendship with you that will last forever. When it comes to internet, I'm a very private person. I have not shared my life story with anyone, especially not on internet, as detailed as I am going to share with you in this video. Since I started the YouTube channel, I have been meaning to make this video, but I always found to put courage together to create this video. Even now that I'm filming this, I'm nervous. But anyways, let us do this. I'm Muhammad Bakir Bayani. I'm originally from Afghanistan, but I was born and grew up in Pakistan. I belong to Hazara ethnicity that you might have heard or read on the news that it has been going through genocide, terrorism, and systematic discrimination for decades in Afghanistan and its neighboring countries. Several decades ago, when Taliban controlled Afghanistan, my grandparents and parents, along with hundreds of thousands of other Hazara people, migrated from Afghanistan to Pakistan, where they started a new life. Just like other Hazara people in Pakistan, we were having a happy and peaceful life. We started our own business. I and my siblings were getting quality education, and there was nothing that we didn't have as middle-class family. But around the year 2000, terrorism was born and followed our ethnicity in Quetta, Pakistan, where most of Hazara people live. Since then, terrorist groups would kill or attack our community on and off basis until 10 years later, around 2010, 11 and 12, when the terrorism reached its peak level. Every day around 10 people would have been killed by different terrorist groups. Terrorists would attack Hazara people's businesses, schools, university buses, community gatherings and celebrations, and individuals who were going back from their work to their homes. My father and my eldest brother were running our business in the middle of the main bazaar where most of the terrorism activities were happening. We didn't have any other option but to keep the business running if we had to survive financially. During the peak of terrorism, almost all the Hazara people's businesses were attacked and their owners were killed in the surrounding proximity of our business. Every day when my father and my eldest brother would leave home for work, we would expect bad news until we would see them back at home at night. Then, fortunately, the terrorism reduced and almost stopped. There was no terrorism attack or there was no bomb blast on Hazara community for around 1.5 years. Then suddenly, in the middle of 2015, the terrorism started again. Their first target was our business. On a sunny Sunday of June 2015, a group of terrorists in the middle of the day attacked our business and killed my father along with 5 other Hazara people. They shot 6 bullets on my father and left him bleed to die. He was bleeding for around 30 minutes and there was no one to take him to hospital. Finally, when there was someone taking him to hospital completely soaked in blood, he didn't have much time and we lost him under surgery. That was the darkest day and experience for me and for my family. From that point, our lives turned completely upside down. We were all traumatized, depressed, and we couldn't think of anything else except the heart-wrenching story and tragedy of our father. For weeks and weeks, we didn't have the courage to go back to our business, open it, and at least clean the blood of my father on the floor from the day of tragedy. Basically, living in Pakistan was getting impossible for us. This is a heavy video. I could not complete it without a break in between. Anyways, to continue from where I left last time, out of despair, we had to leave Pakistan forever and move to Afghanistan. But when we arrived in Afghanistan, we couldn't find peace there as well. We had to pay all the money that we get from selling all the possessions that we had in Pakistan to human smugglers to take us out of Afghanistan. Human smugglers took us far away from Pakistan and Afghanistan. They brought us in this country where we found peace in the green land and stopped fearing the shadow of Taliban and terrorists following us. We sought refuge in Indonesia at the end of 2015. After being on the run for the search of protection for several months, for the first time we thought we finally arrived in a peaceful country where we can call our home. But soon we realized we were wrong. It was just the beginning of an endless journey full of challenges and difficulties. We learned that we have many restrictions but very less freedom. We are restricted to travel domestically or internationally. We are not allowed to work or to get formal education. We don't have financial or health support from the government, and we can never be citizens of Indonesia. We are basically on our own, virtually locked within the four walls of our homes and left to live in this situation for an uncertain duration of time. It has been over 5 years that we have been living with the same restrictions, and we still don't know if we will be resettled to the next country or we will be sent back to the same hell that we escaped 5 years ago. When I found out about these limitations in Indonesia as refugees, instead of giving up, I persisted to fight these challenges and make the best use of my time amid uncertainty. I started teaching voluntarily English language to other fellow refugees with Jesuit refugee services. Every day before we would start the lesson, I would take 15 minutes to let every refugee student to share their stories and experiences and feelings of living in Indonesia as refugees. The more I heard their stories, the more I learned that every single refugee has a heart-touching story to be shared with the world who has misunderstood these refugees and their challenges. That led me to start a refugee advocacy project through social media. In Refugees of Indonesia, I would interview individual refugees, write their stories in English language, and with their portraits, I would share their stories on our website, Instagram, and Facebook. Through that project, we changed the misperception of many people around the world. We brought them closer to the refugee community. We raised money to provide health and financial assistance for the refugee community in Indonesia. But one day I realized that there is way bigger need in the community, and through Refugees of Indonesia, I could only solve a very small fraction of it. I surveyed the community and learned that there is a great need of assistance for informal education, especially for refugee children, health assistance, and also the livelihood training for refugee adults to keep them busy with positive activities. Based on which I started a new project called Health Education and Learning Program, Help for Refugees. As a part of this, I established a learning center from scratch for refugees and led it to be one of the leading refugee-led organizations in Indonesia. I registered it as a legal entity with the Indonesian government, and we collaborated with national and international companies, NGOs, and community centers in Indonesia and abroad. In 2018, I was even planning and collaborating with a US-based company to use blockchain and cryptocurrency technologies to provide financial assistance to all the 14,000 refugees in Indonesia in a transparent way. But unfortunately, that technology or the cryptocurrency got banned in Indonesia around the same time. Meanwhile, the community center grew to the point where we were providing free education, health support, and livelihood training to over 150 students from 10 different nationalities of all ages, with the support of volunteers from all over the world. After 4 years of leading Help for Refugees, I recently stepped down from my role to continue my education through a scholarship program in Broward College, United States, and focus on this YouTube channel. In my life, I have been through so many difficulties, challenges, and horrible experiences that until now I have nightmares of them. I am still uncertain of my future, and I have never felt as lost as I am now. But one thing that I'm certain about and I'm proud of is that I have never stopped my journey of self-development regardless of whatever kind of experiences I have been through. For the last 10 years, I have dedicated my life to self-development books and any other kind of materials. I relied on self-development to learn persistence, positivity, happiness despite all these different challenges that I have been through, management, leadership, productivity, and most importantly, I learned how to find the purpose of my life based on my current situation rather than the uncertain future. I started this YouTube channel to share my experiences with you and to share my journey of self-growth with a bigger community of self-growth believers like yourself. My mission is to create a borderless community of self-developers where we can learn from each other and we can unveil the better versions of ourselves. If you are a self-growth believer and if this mission excites you, join me. I can assure you that I will try my best to create an environment where we can learn from each other. Now subscribe to this channel and let us grow together.